Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, here on this, what is today, 11th day of October. I tell you what, this sports calendar's full, folks. It's full sports calendar. Got a game 5. I mean, I'm actually recording this game, so don't tell me anything about it. And when the Mad New Yorker pops up there, he's not popped up yet. I'll tell him the same thing between the Dodgers and the Padres. A lot of star power in that particular series coming up here. First pitch here in just a few minutes here, but we got a show to do. I'm going to talk about this week's biggest NFL games in the college and the NFL games, of course. Jets, Bills. I'm really high on that Ravens Commanders game, like I was talking about yesterday as well with Jaden Daniels versus Lamar Jackson. That's the most intriguing game, in my opinion. Detroit, Dallas, a lot of good games. Of course, the biggest I like this weekend more for the college game with Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Texas, and Oklahoma, Tennessee, Florida. That's a big regional one there as well. So, lot to look forward to, talk about, and whatnot. Let's take our first and only break. We'll be back here after a few short announcements, and hopefully I'll have the Mad New Yorker here, and we'll hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports and host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. You're watching the sharp-dressed man and the big story breaker, Robert Butler, on Sports Scope, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on National Streaming Sports. Thanks. To get the National Streaming Sports channel on your Roku TV, channel search National Streaming Sports. There's the channel search in Roku. There's our logo right on the right, NESSP. Tap on the logo and it will add to your TV, the channel to your TV. On your laptop, tablet, and mobile phone, download the free Roku app and channel search just like above. If you don't have Roku TV, you have to order a Roku device from the Roku store, hook it up to your smart TV, and bang, you have Roku TV. Again, channel search, National Streaming Sports, click on our NESSP logo, and add the channel. National Streaming Sports is brought to you in part by BetUs.com, designed for true fans. NFL odds, Week 1 and futures, college football odds, including Heisman Trophy favorites and playoff odds, NBA odds of division winners and playoffs, Major League Baseball playoff and World Series odds, the National Hockey League Conference playoffs and Stanley Cup odds, and boxing wagers. Betting opportunities include versus the spreads and outright winners, also during the game. Use our link on our website, nessp.info, the Bet Us Opportunities webpage, for a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Must be 21 years old, and remember, bet responsibly.
All righty then. Now we're back here live Carlos still hasn't shown up yet, and I haven't heard back from him. I hope he's okay, folks. But anyways, as I was saying before the break here, really good baseball game coming up. I tell you, I'm not a huge baseball guy, but the star power this particular game with Shohei Ohtani, Fernando Tatis Jr., just these two teams. I haven't seen one with this many stars, maybe since the early 2000s between the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. There was a report earlier this week that Manny Machado from San Diego had thrown a baseball at one of the assistant coaches in the dugout for the Dodgers. There was incident there, Pickles. If you're watching, for one of the assistant coaches here, I think it was a pitching coach, and I can't remember the guy's name. It's coming after Pedro Martinez for throwing at one of the Yankees' head, and I can't remember his name now. This was about 20 years ago or so. But either way, there's Carlos. I want to get his quick take here. I haven't talked to Carlos since the Jets fired Robert Saleh. As soon as they got home, they fired him on Tuesday morning back from that London trip. Hey, Carlos, how you doing, man?
Yo. I got a little voice issue, but that's all right.
Okay. You under the weather, or you just been partying hard?
Major weather allergies, bro.
Oh, okay. All right. Playing hurt, but he's playing through it.
I'm going to do it. Yeah, so I don't think it's a surprise that he got fired. The way things are setting up. Yeah. Ownership they do what they want up there. Woody Johnson does what he likes, and he likes what Aaron Rodgers says compared to what's actually like around him and what's going on. So how are you going to fire a coach who's got like one of the top ranked defenses right now?
Yeah, that's true.
So, if they're trying to appease Aaron Rodgers to be better, I don't think that's going to happen because he's not 29, he's not 30.
Yeah.
He's 40 years old. So it doesn't make sense, but at the end of the day, even firing him, firing someone like Saleh is going to make the owner feel better. Then that's what it is, because it's their big toy to play with. It's not ours. So I keep saying this, and I'm not opposed to Aaron Rodgers, but they don't have anybody to back him up. He's over 40. He's 40 years old and coming back from a major injury, and I'm surprised that the Jets didn't move forward after he got injured the first time. Nothing. It's New York at the end of the day. Yeah. So Pickles, there's no win right now in New York to keep him or to even fire him. There wasn't, it's easier to let him go now and to look forward. But again, the defense wasn't the problem. So if you fire a defensive coach and you don't have an offense that's not ranked, that's not necessarily the coach's problem. It's a problem that he didn't hire the right people. And, but he didn't have the right personnel for offense since the day they started, because the guy ended up passing away on a bike accident.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
that was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I think people, I'm not trying to play the card, that they should have kept Saleh, but
right,
there isn't anything that he's done to keep the job anyways. So, so it's just, you're an owner and you see what's going on. You should have done this. You're not taking the right steps to balance out your team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that all falls on the general manager as well. So when he saw that, Woody Johnson got happy because he hears that, the Jets had a B rating draft session and they got some of the best players, they got a cornerback, they got offensive lineman, they got, running back, they got wide receiver, they got all this going on. But those players, then they're going to be on the field right away. Unless you're going to put them on the field right away, but who's the offensive coordinator that's going to make them play better?
Yeah.
And they never had that. They never had it. So
yeah, Salif, there was a report back in March, and I had to look this up while I was thinking about it. This was March 28th. This is NBC, New York. Jets owner refutes report he and Salif had a dispute. Now, I think Salif is a little bit like Dan Campbell as far as his emotions are concerned. He's just not quite the communicator Dan Campbell is. And I remember this. I think the owner feels you don't want to scare your boss. You know, I feel like he was scared of. Remember, did you read that he had the security escort Salif out of the building? This was back in March. So maybe he tried to approach Salif about something. Maybe this has nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers, that he's intimidated by the guy. He's a little old man, Woody Johnson.
right.
And Salif is a former player. I mean, he played college. He didn't play prep. He's a pretty big guy. He's in good shape. He's a little bit older than me and you. He's, pretty intimidating. Now, I wouldn't be intimidated by him, but I could see they would be. I've dealt with big guys like that all my life, but particularly in security. But when you're intimidating the owner like that, there was rumors that Mike Vrabel was intimidating like that, and that's why he didn't get another job. I don't know that as much as this was Salif, but if you're too scared to even talk to the guy, that tells me that there's something up with Salif that we're not seeing publicly. I know your Colin Cowherds love to ride this narrative that everything is on Rodgers. He just Rodgers, and there's some truth to that. But this angle to the story is really being undercovered. The fact that Salif may be an imposing figure that probably needs to lower his tone, which that's good if you're a position coach or you're a coordinator. But when you're the head coach, you're like a mini CEO, man. You gotta be cool under fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a driven narrative here about Rodgers and that he's owning the team. I'm not saying that.
Yeah. But a lot of the big personalities are going with that angle.
What I'm saying is that as soon as whatever Rodgers says goes, now because he's the one that is there, now he's the only one that's going to take the heat because he can't turn around and say, well, Saleh did this and the court, and he's not going to throw his coordinator under the bus. And that coordinator, not for nothing, but he hasn't had very much positive stuff going on since he's left Denver, right? So we got. That's what I'm saying about Woody Johnson. He got to look at the whole picture, and if he wants to balance off this team, they already have a good defense. So any coordinator is going to jump on that job and take it either to a next level or keep it the same, right?
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't matter how good this defense is going to be if you can't score any points because you're not protecting any points. Right. And I've been mentioning this in the last 6 to 8 years. If your defense ain't on a high ratio of takeaways to score points, field goals or points, and you're not gonna be going anywhere near a playoff. Yeah. Your defense has to get you points. It has to.
Now
it has to get you near a field goal or near near a red zone as much as possible. So but again, as a New Yorker and someone who follows the Jets, I didn't mind that they brought in Rodgers, but they don't have anything more to offer on the offense. Again, you can't expect someone who's 40 to play like he's 29, 30, 33.
Yeah, I just don't understand why they're not actually building another player behind him. And a lot of this dispute came over that Saleh was going to basically, I wouldn't say fire per se, but demote Nat Hackett from play calling and put it on this Todd Downing, former Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator, let him be the play. Now that got out, and then Saleh gets fired by Woody Johnson, now it's come out that now Todd Downing will be calling the plays. So the truth is somewhere in the middle. And I'm like you with all the offense and stuff. I mean, Rodgers got to realize he's 40. Okay, he's going to be 41 pretty soon. Whoever they hire, they need to get a quarterback that's going to sit behind Rodgers maybe a year, maybe not, maybe less or two, and go offensive minded. So truth is somewhere in the middle. It's typical Jets right now, and it's hard for me to really defend. No, Pickles says Cowherd thinks Rodgers. No, Pickles does not like or Cowherd is constantly riding Aaron Rodgers. He's constantly riding Aaron Rodgers. He's dogging out Aaron Rodgers. Him and Aaron Rodgers see things through a different lens in other aspects of life. And Cowherd's a little bit of a cow turd sometimes, if you ask me. He goes too far with stuff.
No, I mean, I don't want
narrative guy. And I'm not a narrative. I'm a balls and strikes umpire.
Right.
A lot of these guys are narrative guys.
And being here in New York, like the narrative is different. Like it's all about conspiracy theories and all this stuff. Like, it's not even about football anymore. It's all about who's Charles in charge. Like who's in charge. Like and to me
it's kind of a dead. I mean, if it's a big story, but I really want to move on from it. I just think I'm like you. I don't think the Jets are going to do anything. I thought maybe they'll slide into a wild card spot. But they're holding Rodgers up with stilts. I mean, he's one bad hit from being out for the whole season,
And I called the Giants and the Jets. I didn't think they was going to win more than 8 or 9 games anyways.
Well, Giants won last week.
Yeah, and I didn't think they was going to win that one.
Yeah, you want to be really bad or really good. You really don't want to be just good enough where you keep things status quo. That being said, I got a good feeling about the Jets against the Bills this weekend.
So the Bills coming off of a loss, right?
Yeah, and Bills are banged up as well. Pickle says
I think
was fired by 10. Yeah,
this is going to be like the AFC East Super Bowl, man. This is going to be like 17-14. You can flip it either way. I'm not going to pick a team because they're both doing terrible. So, like I don't know if you want to take this one down as a. Like
we don't have to count it one way or the other.
No. Who do you pick? And I'll pick.
Oh, okay. We could skip to that and say I'll be honest with you. I actually like the Jets because the Bills still got those injuries. Okay. I said the Bills will lose 23-20 to the Texans. They lost 23-21. So I was pretty spot on about that. The Bills' defensive tackle is still out, Ed Oliver. Well, he's not out, but he didn't practice Friday and he hadn't played last week. I don't think he's going to play. And I think James Cook didn't practice either. They're running back for the Bills. This is in MetLife Stadium. They just fired the coach. That re-energizes teams.
Really?
It usually does for like a game or two. Remember, it did that with the Raiders.
But
they put Pierce in.
All right.
So I actually think the Jets are going to win the game.
Okay.
Everything I said because the Bills are pretty banged up. I'm not sure that Josh Allen still ain't got a concussion.
I know. I'll you know what? I'm for the sake of us and trying to find a win, I'll pick the Bills +3.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still up 2 because we picked the same teams last week.
Yeah. So 17-14 or what's your
let me go back in my notes here. Let me go back here and check it twice. Oh, wait a minute. Where did I do with all these? Okay, Bills, Jets. Ed Oliver's out. Khalif Shakir didn't practice.
Yeah.
Khalif Shakir didn't practice. Ed Oliver didn't practice. James Cook didn't practice. Michael Carter's the only DNP for the Jets of any concern. Rodgers was limited. I got 24-21 Jets with the win.
So score-wise, we're about the same.
You're 17-14 Bills?
Yeah.
It sounds like it'll be a struggle. I agree with you on that. Oh, let me get your take. The Nets are in the MLCS. Any thoughts on that real quick? They beat the Phillies.
Yeah, and I was big on the Phillies on the show. I mentioned that they were one of the best teams.
Pickles is 30-17.
Whoa. I don't well, Pickles. I hope
maybe they knock if they knock
Pickles, how about this? I wouldn't put no money on the Bills or the Jets this weekend. It just
you never know.
Save it for next week. No, but everybody just here in Flushing, Queens, and in New York, Long Island, and New Jersey, the Mets fans, they crazy and they're having fun, Grimace, and oh my OMG, and it's great, man. And across across town. Yankees
move on.
They're moving on, and they celebrate in different ways. But I just want to put this down for the record. They do it in different ways because it's just the way it is. One team is the mecca of baseball, the Yankees, is the standard of baseball, and how to and how to spend money for all-stars and try to get championships. And the Mets are like, they're not that. But they have their own history. They have a fan base that believes in them and that's ready to go. But this stuff that's going on here, talking about the Yankee fans are jealous. There's no jealousy if you're from a team like the Yankees, or like the Dodgers, or like the standard of a football team, like that's winning, that's got winning records. Like, there's no jealousy. There might be some animosity, right? Yeah. It might be like, why did we get this guy, or why didn't we make the trades when we needed to build up the to build up the team a little bit more.
Is Detroit still in it, or who's going in? Who they going to play? The Detroit or the Guardians?
They don't know. They still playing.
Is it 2-2?
Yeah, and so it's the Dodger game. The Dodgers and the Padres.
Yeah. Don't tell me that one. I'm recording that one. That's a bad mother effer right there.
So I just wanted to set the record straight because I like both teams, and I know that's different. But you guys have to understand, I was raised in Europe, so all I got was New York.
Well, one's a national, it sounds like you like the Mets more, though.
Well, I mean, I talk about both of them. That's the thing. I don't need to talk about the Yankees. Because the Yankees are expected to be there. They just status quo. So that's why
That's true.
I don't need to bring up that they got one of the best sluggers in baseball. Like, we all know who the Yankees are, right? So, and with the Mets, it's like finally they're getting back into a winning. It's like every time they get a winning team, they fall off for 10 years.
Right.
So, and they trying to change that, and I understand it, but I don't like hear people talk. Some Mets fans are going out of way saying, "Oh, well, the Yankee Mets, all the Yankee, they jealous of the Yankee fans. I mean, they jealous of us, the Mets fans." I'm like, I don't know what water you drinking, but that's not it at all. And I think that only us here in New York and in the Northeast want to see a Subway Series. I don't think the rest of America wants to see New York beat up on New York, and that's okay. Like, you can feel that.
A lot of people want to see that Dodgers-Yankees series.
Yeah, so I feel like
star power, but Padres got a lot of stars too, though.
Yeah, I feel like MLB been trying to sell Judge and Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, they'd love that, wouldn't they?
Like, yeah. So, that's why I'm kind of like, I'm okay about what's going on, but I'm me, I'm about business and understanding the business side of sports, and I don't think it'd be a bad thing to have a Subway Series, but to promote baseball, I don't think it's going to happen, man.
I had enough of that in 2000. All right, moving on to football. Let's do a quick recap here. We kind of already touched on Jets, Minnesota. I actually nailed the score there, 23-17. You got your direct score last year with Alabama, Georgia. Congratulations. I nailed the UK game, 23-17, and it ends up costing Robert Saleh his job. I didn't expect that. Minnesota looks like that they're going to be a playoff team, man.
5-0, man. They're 5-0, and they're going to be the dark horse because of the conference that they're in, right?
Yeah, that
conference has been like I call it the black hole. Like, I call it a black hole because a lot of guys go up there, and sometimes their career goes to die there because they won't leave. They won't leave Minnesota. They won't leave Detroit. They won't leave Green Bay, and whatever. Like, but if you straight to you stay true to those kind of homegrown teams, they'll pick you up and they'll make you a star. But
yeah,
as far as getting to a Super Bowl, that's tough for that division to make it to Super Bowl.
But it's the toughest division in football, in my opinion, and this year.
Well, this year, yeah.
It's like the AFC North last year. Nobody had a losing record.
Yeah. So,
yeah, it's really good. Bills, Texans. I mean, we kind of touched on that a little bit. I tell you what, man, that freaking Stroud dude, he's No running game, a lot of injuries. Hung in there.
Yeah.
But Bills seem to be falling apart a little bit in that game. Kind of a nip and tuck, kind of about what we thought. Yeah.
But I keep telling you, the Bills, they're like hit or miss. You don't put your money on the Bills. Don't do it. You're not, you're never going to double up. You'll always be even. And that's just the way.
McDermott could be on the hot seat too.
I mean,
as the season ends.
Well, the Bills don't have no superstars. And wide
quarterbacks, all that.
Right. They got maybe a couple stars in the defense, but then, like right now, I think to them it's more about budget than it is about trying to win, so.
It's hard to get a good coach to go up there. I wouldn't want to go up there and coach. I think they'll get it together and win the division. They're just going through a phase where they got a bunch of injuries at once. They need a bye week, if you ask me.
We talked about this because you're a big fan of
Alec,
of Bengals QB.
Yeah.
And the Bengals and the Bills, they the same team in just different conferences. Like they don't know how to manage their money. They don't know how to, and they got great fan bases. And I feel bad for that because they come through and they support them, but they just don't know how to micromanage and get that team well balanced to just
I like those quarterbacks. I mean, I don't know about the Bills organization per se, and Cincinnati's got the worst POS owner in the league, and it's finally starting to catch up with this star quarterback.
Look, for the Bengals is their owner, for the Bills is their the GMs, and because they can't find that balance, man.
Well, they need to go out and get them a good offensive-minded head coach. They're a little bit leery of making a lot of moves. I don't think they make a lot of side money, and I don't think they got a strong ownership. And quite frankly, I'm not sure if any attractive coaches want to go to Buffalo. I
don't know if that's true. I think.
Jim Kelly was drafted by the Bills. Josh Allen drafted. They're almost like Green Bay, except Green Bay's pretty well run.
Yeah, but Green Bay is still considered a small market team, right?
The smallest market team, that they're really well run.
Right, but and one of the things that keeps Green Bay kind of in close is the fact that they're fan owned.
Yeah.
Right. So, small market teams are not easy to move up and be out and about and be big Super Bowl teams, and it's just tough.
Yeah, that's true. Look, I just think if you got to get good management. I mean, the Spurs win; they're in the small market. Green Bay's got there. You really have to, get your management and have the proper structure set up where you got, this person knows what their job is. This person knows what their job is, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, what do you think about this? Dallas, I tell you, man. Pittsburgh, I should have known Tomlin. His teams are just so predictable to play down to the competition. All those injuries with the Dallas Cowboys. Micah Parsons out. Their tackle Lawrence was out. I don't know why Pittsburgh didn't win this game by 10 points like we said. But go figure. Tomlin's teams, they were big. They were like 3.5-point underdogs against the Falcons. Falcons, good team. Falcons are leading their division. Go down to Atlanta and beat them decisively, and then lose at home to a Cowboy team that's ate up with injuries and can't run the ball. That's all Tomlin playing down to the competition. That's my take on that loss about the Steelers. What's your take? We both picked Pittsburgh and come up short.
I think the recovery time, the fact that they were just riding on a high and didn't play out. You got to play ball, man, on the field, and Dallas ended up playing longer, right? It seemed like they had a little bit more energy towards the end than Pittsburgh did, and you got to manage that, man. That's something that your players got to let you know, and they got to on both ends. On both ends, they just look tired, and then it's the fifth week coming up, 6th week.
Yeah.
So like, I get it. You're starting to like build that stamina up and everything, but this is probably the poorest managed time I've seen Pittsburgh. Because the defense was okay.
Yeah.
But the offense just looked flat, and you can't.
Yeah. I think if there's a chance Russell Wilson may play this week. He's been practicing.
You had.
I know I would. I don't know if he's. Then again, they may be off this week. I'll have to go back and check. But either way, I mean,
we both lost.
It's not going to be Justin Fields. I'll tell you that. If it was me,
we both lost that bet. So.
Yeah. We both lost that one. Okay, Saints. We kind of called that one. Yeah, I mean, Kansas City pulled away at the end. They actually covered there. Chiefs continue to win, man. Beat the Saints. Any thoughts on that game?
The same thing. The Saints just look like towards it.
They're an older team too.
Yeah. Towards the end, it looked like they were just a little bit more tired, and you can't be and show any of that to a team like the Chiefs because they make adjustments in the right time.
Yeah, they do.
So the adjustments that were made by the Chiefs wasn't reflective to the Saints. The Saints are trying to keep the same game plan, and it just didn't work out. So,
yeah. We both nailed Baltimore. Cincinnati's defense sucks. They need an owner to go out here and get up some defensive personnel. No real hot takes there. Lamar looked great at the end. We nailed that Texas A&M Missouri game too. Wigman kid ended up playing, and they kicked Missouri's butt anyways.
We forget that Texas A&M went out the last two seasons, and
we know they're talented. They just couldn't put it together.
Right. They picked up all the NIL kids and the transfer portal, and they got themselves a squad. And they gain more confidence if they get going. You got to be wary because you don't want to play a team like that. They're too deep. So and they'll match up. They're going to match up now with a lot of these Power 5 teams that they got to play. So
they're going to be pretty good.
I'm not saying they go into a national championship. Don't get crazy about it.
But Missouri may be overrated. Missouri may have just had a lot of good players there at once, and they just don't get the quality of player that these traditional SEC schools get. Right. And now we're starting to see it. They don't have a budget of a Texas A&M towards NIL or anything like that. They got a good coach. I love that coach up there. But Missouri, in college, it is a lot about the players. You know,
in Missouri they got good alumni, but they can't just have good alumni. They have to have good alumni and funds provided by the good alumni.
Oh yeah,
and that's the difference.
They're lucky to be in it with a lot of these traditional.
Yeah, because Texas A&M, their alumni is loaded, and they show it.
Most loaded. Them in Texas.
Yeah, but the oil money and a lot of transportation money and all that. So,
man. Any thoughts, since we're talking college, Vanderbilt pulling off the historical upset last week, man?
Yeah, we were kind of like texting back and forth, laughing about what's going on, but it happened, right? And
you come off that big high to that Georgia win. Vanderbilt's been overlooked all year.
It happened in one of the fastest growing cities in America and one of the biggest party weekend cities in America. They got a football field goal post going up and down Broadway, and I wish I was there to see it because
dumped it in the river and then
they walled it out like over there in Tennessee style. So good for Vandy. Put them back on the map. Not just for
I don't know if it's ever on it.
Well, I texted one of my buddies from in high school that he's talking about, Vandy deserves more, doesn't really deserve that much credit, even though they beat Alabama. And I was like, well, if you think about it, if you see that, you go on YouTube and you watch Jay Cutler, Vanderbilt called him at the high school, and he didn't even know where Vanderbilt was. He's talking to his father, and he's like, yo, Vanderbilt offered me a scholarship. And his dad's like, you going to take it. And then he responded to his father, what the F is Vanderbilt? So
I didn't know where Clemson was for the longest.
Right. So and that just goes to show and Jay Cutler's middle America, right? He's from
Santa Claus, Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana. So that just goes to show. But Vanderbilt, the Commodores have always been okay in basketball. They've always been competitive.
They've been decent.
And baseball, they're actually pretty decent.
Yeah. Championship, rather.
In their division. And then in football, it's always been like
A laughing stock.
yeah. So it's good that they got that, and they got a little bit of a
Yeah.
polish.
Got to get your take, though. Tennessee loses to Oklahoma. Looks like they were a little conservative there.
Yeah, they were very conservative.
Nico, what's your thoughts on that game, man? That was pretty disappointing.
Yeah, and I said we got to press the brakes, right? Because I had a feeling that was going to happen. I had a feeling that the coach said I was going to go in there and be like, yeah, we don't have to worry about this team that much. Let's go out, make a very conservative play call. They didn't make adjustments like they usually do. It took a while for the defense to get going. It took a while for the offense to get going. They just look kind of tired again.
Yeah, well, they're coming off a bye week.
Right. And
it's almost like, Kevin said yesterday, he was on the program, Kevin Carroll, he says it looks like they were looking ahead to Alabama, looking ahead, and they got Florida this week. Maybe they're looking ahead to Florida. And I asked him, why do he think that they were running the ball on 3rd and 7 up the middle? And Kevin said, well, maybe because they're dropping 8 in coverage there. My thing is with Heupel, he stays in that two wide receiver split, shotgun for the quarterback. He does no pro-style looks whatsoever. The quarterback's never under center. He didn't let him run enough until the very end.
Right.
He's got to let Nico run. Maybe that was a blessing in disguise. That last drive where they almost won it, came back and won. I think if he would have had that a couple possessions before that, told Nico, I think we're talking about them being a winner and being the number 3 team in the country because Alabama lost.
Yeah, well, had they started like that and had the defense came out and been more aggressive, they wouldn't have lost that game.
They shouldn't have lost that game. Yeah.
That game shouldn't have been a loss. I think
14-3. Are you kidding me? They should have held it. They should have won that game.
I think everybody who likes football, college football, is looking at the game like, what happened? Like, so, and I tell you what happened. Football happened. You get caught up in
going through the motions, trying to finish that game off and not trying to, trying to get out of there with that, but out actually, they're trying not to lose instead of trying to win and come up and bite you a little bit. But there's a thin line between that. On the other hand, you don't want to be in Alabama and in Georgia where you've got a good lead and you're doing super fast plays and you're deep into the second half. You want to slow it down a little bit. That's the polar on the other side. And then Georgia almost came back and beat Alabama.
And Robert, but what you're talking about is overthinking. And you got to look also to what your team can handle, right? You can't slow the game down if you're behind, No,
they were up big, though. In that
and if you're up big, you got to score 2 more points to be up even bigger because you
believe in staying in the hurry up wearing your own defense down like that?
But you don't want to slow it down if the offense ain't used to it either. You know what I'm saying? It's a hard call, man. It's coaching ain't easy, but playing is you got to play on the field, like no matter what the coach calls. And I think that's kind of what happens, that you kind of just get out of that mindset. And if you're tired, man, like you got to let people know, bro. You got, hey, coach,
Yeah.
Give me a breather, bro,
Yeah, I think Heupel learned his lesson. If he don't, we're going to find out. What do you think happens? They play Florida. They're earlier it was 14.5, then it's 15.5. Now it's 16.5 point Tennessee favored. I don't think no way in bleep that they're going to beat Florida by that many points. What do you think's going to happen in that game? Then I'll give you my analysis.
Yeah, 14 is high, but Florida
now it's 16.5.
Yeah, Florida they're doing okay, but they're not doing great. In fact, Florida and Vanderbilt should play for the for a championship of not the best in the SEC. So like I think that UT can go in there and score and do anything they want. They can do whatever they want in that game. But if you don't perform in the field, you're not competitive. It doesn't matter what everybody's saying. Like, go out there, compete, and do what you do. And they could get 14. It's possible.
What do you think happens in the game, man?
I got it 27-14.
Vols?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's something I checked out before I started the program. The last time,
my man digging for more information. I like that.
It was 16.5-point favorite now. This according to FanDuel. The last time that Tennessee has beaten Florida by 17 or more points was in 1992. It was the third year of Steve Spurrier there with the Gators. They had a big turnover. I do not see that happening. It was about 14.5 2 years ago when Austin talked me into going up to Knoxville and doing that and all that, and I could have choked him because he BS'd me a lot. But I put a bet on that, and I said, no, I'm putting on Florida. Florida plays well against Tennessee. They beat Tennessee last year. That game come down to the last throw. Tennessee escapes with a 5-point win. I get the bet there. Graham Mertz kid's back with Florida. He's 50 out of 59 for passing. I think Florida keeps this thing a lot closer than Tennessee fans want it to be. 31-26, Tennessee wins, but Florida covers that double-digit point spread.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on that spread, but
yeah, I'd take Florida because they see Tennessee jerseys, they're going to play good. And you know what? Even if I lose a few dollars, I actually hope I'm wrong. I'd like to see Tennessee beat them 49-0 just to repay for all the years that they beat up on Tennessee 49-0. But them Tebow years, well, they killed Tennessee, man.
Yeah, no, it's a good rivalry to have.
It was 27-23.
Oh, that's not a bad one.
Yeah, so Pickles thinks maybe he would take the Gators and all those points too. Yeah. We've been following this rival for 30-something years, man.
But we've been on both ends of it too, right?
Then yeah. Mainly the losing end.
No, but it's good for football. It's good that they didn't mess that up yet, and everybody should enjoy it this weekend. If you're gonna pop up a game, this is one of the games that you pop on.
Yeah, I'm recording a lot of games, man. A lot of games. You know what? I'm just so annoyed. Just a side note here about CBS not betting and getting the SEC back. Now it's owned by ABC, ESPN, and now they jacked up all the times and putting the Tennessee game at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, and this Texas-Oklahoma game or that Ohio State game is going to be around the same time, 6:30. I was hoping that would be at 3:30 Eastern, but go figure. And Texas-Oklahoma used to be at 12 Eastern noon, 11 a.m. Central for years, a Red River rivalry game. Now that thing is at 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern. I'm a little irritated. Bleep this new TV stuff. Okay. Texas-Oklahoma, 14.5 points. Both teams coming off bye weeks, man. Oklahoma was both wrong last year. Oklahoma won that game last year. Texas had a big favorite then. Oklahoma's got this freshman quarterback playing. The one that went on the road and beat Auburn, they're not that great after the Tennessee game. But this kid's pretty quick, man. He had 60-something yards rushing, had a touchdown last week. I think Oklahoma keeps this somewhat close, but I do think that Texas wins by about 8, 27-19. Venables' defense will play pretty good. I like Texas to win. What do you think about Texas-Oklahoma? You see any kind of upset there? It's 14.5 too.
No upset. But Texas, I think Texas is going to score more, though. I think they're going to get 32 points on them. So it'll be like 32 to 20, 21, something like that.
Oh, okay. You're right around 10, 12-point game. Okay. That makes sense. The Red River rivalry.
I think they're going to make it interesting, at least for a little bit. But
yeah,
they're not going to match up with Texas. Texas is – they ranked number one for a reason, and I didn't think
they got a really good O-line, man.
Yeah, and I didn't think at the beginning of the season, I was like, they need to show me something, and they've been showing me for the last 3 weeks. So,
and there's some parts of that team that does look like a pro team.
Yeah, and they big boys, man, and they move. So
their line looks like the freaking Detroit Lions line. Ole Miss and LSU. This is a good game. Both of these, the winner of this team will have a leg up in the playoff. The losers pretty much outside looking in that have 2 losses at this point. LSU's coming off a bye. Ole Miss got beat by Kentucky a couple of weeks ago, right, but they rebounded last week and beat beat the crap out of South Carolina on the road. I was pretty impressed with that. LSU had to hang on to beat South Carolina a few weeks back, if you remember that game. And LSU did beat them in a wild shootout last year at Ole Miss. Ole Miss beat them 55-49. What a crazy game. That was at Oxford. Now it's at LSU in another night game, another 6:30 game. All these games are going to be competing against each other. This is so stupid.
Yeah,
but I like the home team. I like this Nessmeyer guy, although I like Dart too. 36-31 because it's at LSU at night at home. I like LSU to get the win, and Ole Miss is going to be kind of ticked off. And what you think, Chief?
Yeah, LSU, they play good under the lights, and
they're good at home at them night games, ain't they?
Yeah, so I think they're gonna win this one too. It's gonna be close for them because I think they teeter-totter in between being a 4 and a 5 graded team.
Yeah,
they have a lot of younger players, So, but even though they got a lot of younger players, they got a lot of depth. They got a lot of speed, which helps them. So I think Ole Miss I think that's it. I don't know if they'll be able to catch up with that. And they had rest to recuperate.
Yeah. They're a speed team coming off that bye. And, you know, like Kevin said yesterday, they'll probably just run on Ole Miss a lot like Kentucky did. I think they probably will. That'll be a good game, though. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, if you don't like some of these SEC teams, if you're partial to one or not to the other, you catch this game's going to be competitive because they got a lot to lose.
Yeah, and I want to watch that Jason Dart. I do like that quarterback for Ole Miss. Jason Dart or whatever. All right, man. Ohio State. I know we still got some NFL games. I'm just doing the college games first, but Ohio State, Oregon. I was looking around.
And that's Oregon, right? That's Oregon, right?
It's at Eugene, but can you remember the last time a non-conference team ever been up to Eugene, Oregon, and beat them in Eugene? I can't remember. Now, I know Washington was in their conference a couple years ago, beat them up there, but they just don't lose up there, man. Kevin says he was on here yesterday. He said he likes Cal McCord, LSU's Ohio State's quarterback last year better than Will Howard. I'm not sure if I think Will Howard's a better athlete, though. He might not have the touch, McCord, but he's a better athlete. Ohio State has beat Iowa and Michigan State, but that's not really a resume builder, if you ask me. I might be wrong on this. Ohio State's favored by 3.5. A lot of people's high on Ohio State in the preseason. I said Ohio State we're going to win the national championship, but I think they'll lose this game at Eugene. I like Dylan Graver. He was a quarterback of that Oklahoma team that won last year in Texas, 26-22. I like the home team, Oregon, to get back in the thick of things and win this game at home in Eugene. Pickles thinks Ole Miss will upset LSU. Pickles, I'm taking down all your scores. So 34-29, 29-27. Ole Miss with the road win. That could very well happen. Pickles thinks a 4-point game and 2 in Oregon. What do you think, man?
Yeah, the Ducks play really good up there, man. That crowd,
I thought you was gonna go Ohio State on me.
That crowd is crazy. The weather's crazy. So when you go over there, you're not used to that crisp, cold air.
It is crisp, cold, yeah.
And
but Ohio State's from Ohio, though.
I'm partial to Oregon. I like them and how they play. I was looking into 2022. They played South Carolina.
A few years ago, they did beat Ohio State in Ohio State.
Yeah. And Oregon played USC. I'm sorry. I thought they played like another team down there that wasn't in a division. But ain't nobody, they played them close. Even like when Boise State goes there, Boise State.
Yeah, now Boise State almost beat them. Now, they did run the ball pretty well against Oregon. And, a lot of your national sports people, Joe Klatt was saying, with this running game, Ohio State, maybe they go up there and run on them. You know what I'm saying? and maybe they beat them and take the crowd out. Maybe we're wrong.
Yeah, they ain't many. I'm looking, and they ain't many. I didn't see any team that was up there and running the gamut on them. They play a lot of close games up there, though.
That's true.
So they have an opportunity. Ohio State has an opportunity, but this going to be one of those where you're going to check and test the level of where Ohio State really is, because it's an out of conference game with a highly rated team.
They'll be ready.
Yeah, they're going to play them, but do they have a winning attitude, and can they take over the game? And that's what we got to look at right now. So this is one of those good games that is a gauge to see where Ohio State really stayed.
That's true.
So, but I'm picking Oregon.
You like Oregon? What's the score?
No, 36-33, something like that.
Okay, 36-33. You got Oregon. Pickle says he likes the Ducks 33-29. We're all calling for a 3 to 4 point game. It feels about like that. That's what the odds makers have it at 3.5. I think that is all the college. Man, what a good weekend coming up. Tomorrow, fool. Tomorrow, my man. Let's see. Let's talk. Let's go. You got any questions? What?
No.
What do you think about this Lions? This is kind of a rematch game from last year, a little controversial last game between Dallas and Detroit. Lions coming off that bye week. Parsons is still out. But the Lions team looks pretty healthy. They got their center back. Looks to have everybody back. I didn't see anybody on their injury report. I noticed the game is in Dallas. Anything can happen. But I like the Lions to come up 27-20 and make up for last year's blunders. And Dan Campbell gets to celebrate. Lions get the W.
Ooh, okay.
Who you like?
I don't like either of these teams. I feel like sound like a Thanksgiving Day.
It does sound like a Thanksgiving game, don't it?
Yeah, Thanksgiving Day preview or something like. Let's preview these teams for Thanksgiving Day, but Lions are doing a lot better than the Cowboys in the running department. I don't know how these defenses are going to hold up. Both of them got a little bit of issues. So I feel like this might go overtime. And, and because I think the Lions play down to their competition.
Oh, you're saying they're like Fitz? Well, they did against Tampa earlier this year.
So I feel
you like Dallas to win this game?
It's going to be overtime, and it might be like 27-24 in the field goal kick.
Dallas or Detroit?
Dallas over Detroit.
Dallas over Detroit. All right, I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm gonna hold you to it.
They both struggling right now. They're both being semi-competitive. So.
Okay, all right. I ain't gonna talk you out of it. Washington, Baltimore. This is the last one.
Man, that's the game of the week.
This is my hyped up. This is the game I like more than any game this week, man. This is like they're 30 miles difference between Baltimore and Landover, Maryland. I didn't know if you knew that.
The
Commanders, they play in Landover. They don't play in Baltimore, or they don't play in D.C. area.
Right. So
have you been there before?
I used to go to watch the Giants play Washington.
Oh, I think you told me that.
And when you're leaving, when I was getting to Washington for the night game, Baltimore finished their day game, and that traffic is hellacious. It's just terrible. So I get it over there. I understand, and I've been
like 35 miles, but I read online it's an hour drive.
It's terrible, especially because the way they're scheduled, and depending where you're going and where you're coming from. So I was coming from the northeast, going down southeast. So but once you get through that traffic, you can speed over to Fairfax.
Everything's everything.
Yeah. So
okay.
But no,
Go
what?
ahead.
This game is going to be wild.
What's your analysis? Then I'll give you mine. Go ahead.
I think that Jay Daniels is going to step it up, and he's going to want to show up, and he's not. He wants to be like the man, and he's doing what he can to be the man. Lamar is starting to come out of his preseason hump that he's usually in. The Baltimore Ravens have a running game. I think it's going to be the sky versus the ground. And this game, you're going to see a lot of points. It's going to be about 36-32 maybe. And this game might go to overtime. So, I like it, man. I'm excited to see it.
Who you picking to win? You got to pick a winner now.
Yeah. I think that you're going to see a couple runs by Derrick Henry. I think they're going to win this game. Baltimore's going to win this game.
36-30. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're right, though. The over and under Pickles and Carlos, it's 52 and a half. That's a lot for an NFL game. It's really good weather in Landover. You saw that 34 points that they put on Cleveland last week. I've been talking up Jalen Daniels for the last couple of days that Daniels, this guy, if he wins this game, people are really going to take him serious.
He's already MVP talk already.
Yeah, he's already Rookie of the Year favorite. Right. MVP talk. Now it's still just 5 games in. You got 12 more to go.
Right.
This also could be a game where he gets hurt. Cliff Kingsbury and that head coach, what's that guy's name? That head coach. I can't remember his name. Former coordinator from Dallas. Whatever. Because basically Kingsbury is really got no what's his face doesn't have any say on way Kingsbury calls the game. That's why he signed the contract with him.
Right.
This is going to be a pretty high scoring game. Lamar Jackson's 20-1 against the NFC. Your Giants are the only team that beat him in a tough, cold game a few years ago. I think Lamar pulls it off, but I'm like you. This is a high-scoring game, 31-27. Ravens at the end. This is my favorite game of the week. Pickles thinks it's going to go the other way, 38-37. Dan Quinn, no relation to Martha Quinn, Medicine Woman, show from the early 90s. Remember that show?
That's his great-great-grandma right there. No, man. Yeah,
this could go that way, Pickles. Pickles is right.
Look, the Hogs are back, right? That's what they're saying right now. People
Part of
in
wants
that area are excited for Washington Commanders. They so excited, they're not even complaining about the name right now. That's how good they're doing.
That's true. They want to bring it back to the Redskins.
Don't matter what you call them, they winning. So you can call them whatever you want right now until they start losing. And Baltimore's getting there too. So Baltimore's turning around that 2 loss that they had in the beginning of the season. So this is going to be a good gauge to see also where your team is at offensively and defensively. This is going to be a grudge match, I think. It's a good rivalry.
30-something miles apart.
If you don't get to watch it, at least watch it.
Remember how intense their preseason game was a couple years ago?
Yeah,
they stopped the Ravens' preseason game winning streak.
Yeah.
And they bragged about that. So this is for real. This is like an unspoken rival. This ain't Baltimore-Pittsburgh, but this is, it's good weather. This feels like the atmosphere of an upset. If this game were played in December, I'd take Baltimore by 14, But now it's going to be warm. It's going to be October. This is probably the most interesting game of the week, other than maybe Oregon and Ohio State, as far as all games.
Yeah, they need to find like some kind of trophy or some kind of something to bring that rivalry, like give it some kind of like end game.
I wish they'd play every year. Yeah, kind of like they do in college,
Yeah, like when the Jets play the Giants, they call it the Snoopy game.
Snoopy game
because it's played in MetLife.
Yeah, MetLife. Yeah. Anything else to plug, man? Appreciate you coming on. Sound like you still got a sore throat from allergies.
Yeah, man. I'll be all right. I couldn't talk yesterday, so I'm doing it all today. But no, right now, just I'm hoping I get better so I can do a show Sunday night to bring back the football. See if I can get somebody to come on with me and talk some baseball and
Keith Angle, I'm sure he'll do it.
We'll see. He don't like that I make all the right predictions. So He gets mad at me. But I saw the Eagles guy. What's his name?
Philly sports guy, Jamie.
Yeah, he was. I saw him being recorded by somebody else. Mets fans was being hyped up at Citizens Bank. He got in someone's face, this Mets fan, and the Philly fan took the phone and threw it on the field.
Oh, I saw that.
And,
I saw that.
And I was just like, this so
I'm glad it wasn't Jamie doing all that.
Yeah, it was Jamie doing over there talking.
It was in the background, but it wasn't his phone.
No. It wasn't his phone. But it was funny that I saw. I was like, is that Jamie? What the heck is he doing? And why is he messing with Mets fans?
I just love Jamie. I do like the fact that he will go on and do his streams even when they lose.
Yeah, no,
not the ending we wanted. Not the. At least he's man enough to come on, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah, well, and that's good for him. It's good for all of us on the network. Like, as much as some of us are more homers than others. Like, as much as we got that, that desire to win every game, man. We're not. First of all, we're not playing the games, and second of all, we gotta, you gotta go with what the reality is. If you win, you win, and you lose, you lose.
Make it like a man. Call balls, and I usually have better shows when my teams lose because I'm angry and I think a little bit more into it.
Now you rip it to Will Levis.
I rip him a new one. He's a bum. He's a never was like Jack Hirsch.
No, and and I'm not gonna be. I can't be mean.
Pretty good when the Jewish teams are bad.
With Wilson and Daniels, I'm like, I have no platform. Like
run them over with the with the Greyhound bus, brother. All right, man. I ain't gonna strain your voice anymore. Appreciate you playing all the way through it.
Sorry I was late, boss. Sorry I had
this time next week, brother. I hope we're talking about Tennessee beating Florida and actually covering that spread. But boy, I hope we're not talking about a loss there.
Finish up this season, baseball finishing up. Everybody's excited in New York. We got a 50% chance of one team being there, so we'll see what happens.
That's true. So, all right, brother. Have a good one, man. Thank you, Pickles.
Games. Have a good one.
See you, man.